I'd like to thank Nier for inviting me to do this. It's a great tribute to New England racing. It's a great honor among some of the greatest people in the world. Growing up in the Boston area, the nearest racetrack was the Lake Norwood Arena. In the early 60s, there was a tall blonde-haired kid, and he really wasn't from Dedham. He had an apartment there for a little while. Basically, he was from Newton, had a hobby car, numbered the V8 after one of his heroes, Wild Bill Slater. Well, anyway, he ran a few years in the hobby cars, moved into the NASCAR sportsman, driving for Ronnie Sayers, Ray Stonkus. Then he moved to the Worcester sand and gravel cars that have been driven by Mario Fats Caruso, the late Fats Caruso. And in 1967, he won the NASCAR sportsman title. That's when it was a real honor to win it. You'd run 80, 90, 100 races a year. They say that you remember points in time. That fall, we were gathered in Needham, Massachusetts, Gasoline Alley. A lot of people worked out of there. A lot of people ran their race cars from there and near there. And we were all gathered one Saturday afternoon in Jack Malone's donut shop. And there were about 30 of the regular malingerers, race car bums, mechanics, you know, just hanging out. And this fellow had a brand new pickup, 2 suitcases, no money, and a Ford pickup. And he was in there, he was embarking on a trip down south to try to make the big time. We're all there. Jack Malone says, "Peter, look around at all these people. They're your friends, they've worked with you, they've raced with you, they've done you favors, you've done them favors. Take a look at every one of them. You're on the way up, and when you're on the way down, these same people are going to be here." And then Jack said a very poignant thing. He said, "Peter, remember one thing. Don't forget your roots." And Peter, as everyone, as Jackie has said, Mike, and Mike Joy has said, went on to win the Holy Grail, the greatest race in America, the Daytona 500. Peter Hamilton deserves all the accolades he gets. And I'd like to bring Peter here, and I would also like to say, before Peter comes up to get his award, he has never forgotten his roots. He's still Peter Hamilton from Dedham or Needham, Massachusetts. Peter?
This is wonderful for me to be here. It's a lot scarier being in front of a microphone than sitting there waiting for the show to begin and all strapped in a race car. I'm so proud to be from New England, particularly this afternoon. It's just a lot of people throughout the country. They have their racing deal, but New England racing, particularly in the time that I grew up in it, is really it's a family, and I have never forgotten that. And it's there's anything that happened to me is I'm kind of I'm the product of all the guys that have been introduced so far, and some guys that haven't been introduced. I just was extremely lucky to be at the right place at the right time. You know, every guy that's been introduced up here, I have a story, and they taught me something. I was thinking of Rennie Charland. I don't know why, but one day he called me and he said, would you interested in going to Daytona with me and running this pure oil economy run? And this was years ago they did that. And you know, the truth is, we got Rennie and I, and for me, thousands of laps on that racetrack. I knew every crack in that place, and it helped. Little things like that, you know, there's 1,000 things. In '66, I went down there with a car of Rocky Hinton's Tewksbury Speed Shop, and we went out and started the show. And if a man could hold his breath for 300 miles, I succeeded in doing that. It absolutely scared me to death. I come in, got out of the car, and Eddie Flemke was not too far away at any given time in my career. And he come over, I said, Eddie, if I can just somehow get back to New England, I will never come back here. Please don't make me come back. But as it happened, I went back and I kept trying. And I don't, you know, a kid with not much talent, but I think I had a lot of desire. And sometimes maybe desire is maybe more important than all that other kind of stuff, is just to really want to do it. And I'm very grateful. It was, I just wouldn't have missed this for the world, to see all the guys again and to hear the stories again. You can travel. I was lucky enough to race in California and Phoenix and all over the place, all over this country, doing different types of things. But the New England roots stay with you. And, you know, a lot of different people. Jack Malone is still my very good friend. I left him a couple days ago in Florida, and we knock around together to this day. And he got me going a lot. And Eddie Flemke, there's no words that I can say for what he taught me. So I want to thank you again for allowing me to be here with these other folks. Thank you very much.
Well, Pete, you have one last thing to do after the photography, and that's to post these. And I think, folks, if you get a chance later, come up and look, because they're absolutely breathtaking, is the permanent plaques that'll be on display. And I think a lot of work went into them, too, of trying to capture not only the visage, but also maybe a car that was emblematic. So, Pete, the honors are all yours now, and just forgive me if I don't say, and there he is, just like he was running Catamount Stadium just one short year ago, but you certainly are a fitting member. And I think Bruce probably said it the best. When I was an aspiring young talent, I knew that this man never forgot his roots. And I always knew when things got a little tight around the Winston Cup garage, it wasn't called Winston Cup back then, I could kind of sneak over and at least get a little smile and a wink from him. And in the beginning, I figured he didn't know me from Adam, but then, sure enough, he did remember. He says, "Oh, you're that little fat kid who used to be around Stafford all the time." Hi, Pete Hamilton, ladies and gentlemen.